Auspicious greeting. Welcome back to the core teaching class. Last class, we talked about the eight consciousness and how they interact with each other. So for today's class, I'd like to start off with a short video. So let us watch this video. from what we have learned before or from the video that you have just watched, we can see that whether we suffered or have happiness, it all depends on this mind. Just like this lady in the video, like with her positive attitude and positive thinking, her world is filled with happiness. She's always positive and there's always hope. So our worlds become different if our mind is filled with wholesome thoughts or unwholesome one. So, and of course, for all of us, especially for us who is practicing the Dharma, we always want to have the right view and positive thinking so that our world is always hopeful and always positive. The Buddha taught us that we should fill our mind with four qualities so that we can have happiness, so that we're free from enmities and free from distress. If we reflect on the video that we have just watched, the Lady Leela has these four qualities in her heart. Therefore, the world that she lives in is one that's filled with hope and happiness. So, what are the four? The four qualities are what is known as the Brahma Vihara. So, if we translate it literally, it actually means dwelling place of Brahma. And I'll talk more about who Brahma is in a bit. And for other translation of this word, you will probably see the four immeasurable, the four sublime state, or the four boundless abode. But if we have to translate it literally, of course, it's the dwelling place of Brahma. And who is Brahma? Brahma is the heavenly king who lives in the higher heaven in the heaven realm. He is considered the protector of the Dharma. So he dwells in four attitudes, which are the four, and they are unlimited loving kindness, unlimited compassion, unlimited joy, and unlimited equanimities. So these four qualities are said to be sublime because they're the ideal and best way of conduct for us. We have to work with a lot of people all the time, whether it's at home with your family members, or whether it's at work with your colleague, or just outside hanging out with your friends. So we're working with people all the time wherever we go. These four qualities would provide the best solution to interpersonal relationship with others. If everyone can have these four qualities, then there will be harmonies in the societies and peace in the world. For personal growth, if we can fill our mind with these four qualities, then we can also slowly learn to let go of the so-called self or ego. And aside from that, we can also learn to let go of our afflictions such as greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt. Now, a question that we might ask is, why are these four qualities called abode? In the word vihara translate to abode, meaning a place. Why is it called a place? This is because these four qualities are the best dwelling place for the mind. This is where the mind would actually feel at home. The mind should become saturated by them. What this means is that we should be mindful of them in all of our daily activities. And now the next question that we might also ask is, why are they limitless or boundless? They're limitless or immeasurable because they should not be impartial and should not be bounded by selective preference or prejudice. So what I'm saying is that it should apply to everyone, whether it's to people you like or dislike, or even your enemy, or just neutral person on the street, like a stranger on the street. Therefore, a mind with these qualities are limitless and can be as vast and as tolerant as this ocean. Also, the sutra said that those who practice the four immeasurables have immeasurable amount of merit. So because of these two, that's why they're also called limitless or boundless. Now it begs the question of what are the four qualities that our mind should dwell in? So if you remembered what I've talked about, like Brahma, dwelling in these attitudes, so these are actually the four qualities that we should also dwell in. So let us look at each of them and what the Buddha said in the sutras. This is what the Buddha said. Here, monks, a disciple dwell, pervading one direction with his heart filled with loving kindness. Likewise, the second, the third, and the fourth direction. So above, below, and around, he dwelt, pervading the entire world everywhere, and equally with his heart filled with loving kindness, abundant, grown great, measureless, free from enmities, and free from stress. So we should fill our heart or saturate our heart with loving kindness. And the Buddha continued, here, monk, a disciple dwell pervading one direction with his heart filled with compassion. Likewise, the second, the third, and the fourth direction, so above, below, and around, he dwell pervading the entire world everywhere, and equally with his heart filled with compassion, abundant, grown great, measureless, free from enmities, and free from distress. Here, monk, a disciple dwell pervading one direction with his heart filled with joy, likewise the second, the third, and the fourth directions, so above and below and around, he dwell pervading the entire world everywhere, and equally with his heart filled with joy, abundant, grown great, measureless, free from enmities, and free from distress. And last, here, monk, a disciple dwell pervading one direction with his heart filled with enmities, likewise the second, the third, and the fourth directions, so above, below, and around, he dwell pervading the entire world everywhere, and equally with his heart filled with equanimities, abundant, grown great, measureless, free from enmities, and free from distress. So in the passage above, the Buddha told us that we should always dwell in our heart in these four qualities: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimities. And we should saturate our heart with these four qualities. So just to sum up, the four immeasurables, of course, are the immeasurables loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimities. Venerable Master Xun Yan once said that the four immeasurable actually correspond very well with his teachings of the four givings. The practice of the four givings is the actualizations of the four immeasurable. They're corresponded in the following way. So, loving kindness to give others faith, compassion to give others hope, joy corresponded to give others joy, and equanimities is corresponded to give others convenience. Let us now examine what is each of these immeasurable qualities and how we can actually apply them in our life. So the first qualities is immeasurable loving kindness. It's translated from the word Pali word metta. Loving kindness means wishing everyone would have true happiness and giving them happiness. Having loving kindness is to have a benevolent mind that gives others peace and happiness. It is about showing empathy to others. Just to put it simply, it's to have goodwill for others. Loving kindness and compassion are the fundamental teachings in Buddhism. And now let me show you a video. The little girl in this following video demonstrates very well about giving others happiness.
Aquí te lo dejo. Ya sé que no es el sitio más adecuado para él, pero mira, es que estamos saturados. En cuanto podamos, nos lo llevamos a un sitio más acorde con su situación. Aquí tienes los informes, las medicinas. Esta es la última valoración. Y en esta maleta están todas sus pertenencias.
De acuerdo, firma aquí y ya está todo. María, ¿otra vez por los pasillos? ¿Quieres hacer el favor de salir al recreo con los demás niños? ¡Niños! ¡Niños! Este es vuestro nuevo compañero. Como veis, es un poco especial. Pero entre todos tenemos que conseguir que se sienta a gusto el tiempo que esté entre nosotros, ¿de acuerdo? Bueno, vamos a empezar con la clase. ¿Recordáis que ayer hablábamos de la importancia de las comas? Las comas pueden cambiar el sentido de una frase hasta convertirla en otra completamente diferente. Aquí por lo menos te dará el solecito un rato. Ahora vuelvo, ¿vale?
Pero María, ¿dónde vas?
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Yo me llamo María. Bienvenida al cole. ¿No sabes andar? Ni hablar. ¿No sabes nada? ¿Qué te pasa? Eres un poco raro. Mira, es muy fácil. Si quieres mover una mano, haces así. Y la mueves. Y si quieres hablar, haces así. Hola. Y lo haces.
María, ven a jugar con nosotras.
Y si te pica un brazo, ¿cómo te rascas? Yo cuando me pica un brazo no me puedo aguantar.
¡Jo, María! ¿Pero qué haces?
¿Quieres jugar conmigo a la comba? Mira, es muy divertido.
¡Qué rara es María!
Ya sé lo que te pasa. A ti lo que te gusta es el fútbol. Máxima concentración. El delantero va a chutar. Es el máximo goleador del campeonato. Pero la portera es la más chula de la competición. Impresionante patadón le ha dado al balón, que se acerca como una bala a la portería. ¡Gol! 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 Un niño en la silla de ruedas ha metido gol. ¡Gol!
¡Pero qué rara es María!
Señor, déjame a mí, que yo puedo.
Muy bien, de acuerdo.
Chocolate, choco chocolala, choco chocotete, chocolate, chocote, chocolate. Érase una vez una bruja enamorada de un príncipe. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. ¡Capitán! ¡Salve a la doncella! ¡Auxilio, capitán! Solo vos podéis salvarme. No conseguiréis salvarla. La doncella está a buen recaudo. ¡Jo, jo, jo! El príncipe y la brusa fueron felices por siempre jamás. 1, 2, 3, al escondite inglés y mover las manos míos, pies. 1, 2, 3, al escondite inglés y mover las manos míos, pies. ¡Ah, te he pillado! ¡Sí! mundo. ¿Sabes que hay sitios donde comen hormigas? Bueno, no hace falta que comamos hormigas.
María, hoy no puedes salir al recreo. Mira, está muy cansadito. Si quieres, puedes quedarte aquí con él y le haces compañía.
¿Qué te pasa? ¿No te apetece jugar hoy? ¡Sí! ¡Ya anda! ¡Soy la mejor entrenadora del mundo! Seguro que ha sido él.
No nos podíamos imaginar que estuviera tan malito. Nunca se está preparada para algo así. Bueno, por lo menos ha sido por la noche y sin sufrir. La verdad es que su cara era de alegría. No sé cómo se lo vamos a decir a los niños. Sobre todo a María. Se había hecho muy amiga de él.
Ya lo sé. Recogeremos sus cosas lo antes posible. Siento que hayáis tenido que pasar por este trance.
Buenos días, niños. Soy María, vuestra nueva profesora.
In the video, the little girl did her best to befriend this little boy who is paralyzed. She tried to give him joy, although the little boy passed away in the end, but he passed away peacefully with a smile on his face. To help and give happiness to more people, this little girl grown up to be a teacher who would give happiness to her student. Sometimes it is easy for us to have loving kindness and compassion to people we like and to people we know. It is hard for us to extend this to someone we dislike or to our enemy. For us to be able to extend this loving kindness and compassion to all living beings, we need the help of contemplation to help us cultivate this heart and open it up so that it is as vast as the ocean and so that we can really have loving kindness and compassion for all living beings. As the Buddha said, what a person considered and reflect upon for a long time, to that his mind will bend and incline. So what this means is that although we can't extend our loving kindness and compassion to all living beings right away, right now, because it's probably a little bit hard to extend it to people we dislike. But then, if we continue to contemplate and reflect upon it slowly, our mind will also bend and incline toward that. And of course, in this way, we're slowly opening our heart so that it actually extends to everyone. So we can try to do contemplation to help us to be able to extend this love and kindness to everyone. Okay, just a review. Loving kindness is about having a heartfelt wish that all sentient beings may possess happiness and the cause of happiness. And so, for our contemplation, we can contemplate that this is just like a parent loving their children. Parents love for their children and always wish the best for their children. And if you're a parent, you would know that, or if you're not a parent, you can reflect upon your parent. Like our parent always like do their best to provide for us, whether it's best education, whether it's all the necessities that we need and the food and everything. They work very hard for their children. And so to expand our goodwill to those who we do not know, and ultimately to people whom we dislike or even our enemy, we can contemplate that we have had many rebirths in our past life. Throughout all these lifetimes, all these people we know or haven't met before, they may have been our parent or our children or our siblings or our family in the past. So if they are our family members, we want them to have happiness too. And of course, if they have been our parent before, we want them to have happiness, right? Whether it's children or family members. If it's our family member, we wouldn't want them to suffer and be unhappy. So for our contemplation, we can sort of like first think about we have all these past lives. And so for all those that we have met or have not met, we must have connections with them before. So imagine with all these past lives, they may have been our parent or family members before. And we don't want our family members to suffer. So that's why we should also have loving kindness for them. And in addition to this contemplation, we can also practice what we call the metta meditation or loving kindness meditation. This is to cultivate our loving kindness through sending goodwill or offering this goodwill in our mind to first it start off with ourselves, then it extend to our loved one. And the third level is to extend it to a stranger on the street. And the fourth level is to extend this to our enemy. So basically, we silently recite these 4 phrases in our mind to each of these target audience. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. And may I be at ease. And of course, when it's target to other groups, then it would be, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And may you be at ease. And so now I'm going to guide everyone to, I guess, a short metta meditation, and so that you can get an experience from it. And later on, you can also practice it on your own in your daily life. Okay, now you can sit comfortably, but make sure your back is upright. Sit in a very comfortable posture. You can place your hand close to your stomach for the meditation mudras, if you know. Or if not, you can just lean your hand on your legs. Then after you have sit in a very comfortable posture, you can then start to relax your body. Relax from your head. Relax your shoulder and your neck. And relax your arm, your chest, your back, and relax your leg. Relax your whole body. And when your body is relaxed, then you can take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in slowly from your nose and breathe out slowly from your mouth. After your 3 deep breaths, then you can start to breathe naturally. Just simply follow your breathing for a moment. Be mindful of how you breathe in and be mindful of how you breathe out. Now, just visualize yourself as you sit here right now. Try to connect with your own deepest intention for happiness, ease, and safety. You don't need to dive into the stories of what will make you happy, but just simply connect with that natural desires you have. And you can cultivate this intention to open your heart to your own well-being by silently offering yourself this goodwill. Silently recite the following phrases in your mind. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be at ease. You can send off these goodwill in your head, saying them slowly enough that you can connect with their meaning and the intention behind them. You can now bring to mind a good friend. This may be a loved one, a friend, a teacher or mentor, or even your pet. You can connect with your natural desires to see that this person is happy and at ease. Just like you, this person wants to be happy, to feel safe, and to be healthy. In an effort to cultivate this intention of kindness, you can send up your goodwill to them through offering these words. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be at ease. You can now let this person go from your mind and bring to mind a neutral person. This may be someone you see, maybe regularly, but don't know very well. It may be somebody who works somewhere you go a lot, a coworker, or maybe your neighbor. Although you don't know this person well, you can recognize that this person wants to be happy as well. You don't need to know what their happiness look like. Again, offer this person the phrase of loving kindness, connecting with the intention to care about their well-being. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be at ease. You can now let this neutral person go and bring to mind somebody who you find hard to work with, who you find difficult. You may not want to pick the most difficult person in your life. Instead, choosing someone who is minorly difficult. Maybe it's someone you find yourself agitated with or annoyed by. You can offer the phrases, recognizing that this is connecting with our intention to care for this person. Although we may not mean it wholeheartedly every time we offered our goodwill because it's a little bit difficult, but we can still make an effort with sending goodwill to them. Offer them the following verse. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be at ease. Slowly take a deep breath in and breathe out. Without opening your eyes, you can move your head to the side and rotate your shoulder forward and backward. Then rub your hand together to warm up your palm. And when your palms are warm up, you can cover your eyes with your palm and start to massage your eyes, your face, your neck, and down your body. So now we can go back to our class. So just now what we have done, it's what we call the metta meditation. So basically every single day you can practice metta meditation. It doesn't need to be long, but it's more like sending out this goodwill and this loving kindness to everyone. Of course, as you can see from the guided meditation, it's a progress. So it starts off with yourself, then to your loved one, then extend it to strangers, a neutral person, and ultimately we want to send it to people who we find difficult to work with. And if we can practice as such, slowly we would be able to be impartial and would be able to have loving kindness for everyone. So in addition to contemplation and practicing the meditation, we can also share this love and kindness or this love with other people through our actions. It doesn't need to take a lot of time, but it can be done through our volunteer work, such as serving food to the homeless or hosting food or toy drive so that we can give it to people who need them, and or simply be a vegetarian because we're saving life. Or we can also volunteer at the temple to support Dharma propagation so that everyone would find happiness in their life through the application of the Buddha's teachings. So these are some of the way that we can practice this love and kindness in our life. If every one of us can give a little help, the societies would be such a better places. There's this young man, I was like watching this video. So there's this young man called Josh. He started a campaign called Do Something for Nothing. So basically they're doing giving a little help or a little care to the homeless people or to people who need it. Let us look at this video, and I guess before we watch the video, I must apologize beforehand because there are quite a bit of Chinese word on the video. But then of course the conversation is in English because I guess this clip was taken from the National Geographic. So let us look at what George does.
A lot of people look at you and think, it's your fault, you're there, you deserve it, you've done something wrong. It wasn't my case. I mean, it just built up.
How long have you been doing this, Josh?
For a couple of years now.
So what got you started?
I think it was feeling a bit helpless, really, if I'm honest. Like, it came from a feeling of helplessness of how can I affect a problem that seems so big? How do I even begin to start? From that feeling of helplessness came, like, I have to start with one person. Just talking to one person, finding out about them. And I think that makes you feel empowered to make bigger changes.
It's a bit more than giving a haircut or getting a haircut.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just because we're not related, I feel like there's got to be those support for the people who don't have that. And look, I know a haircut's not a big thing. I know it's not going to change somebody's world, but for me, it's just a way of spending time with someone. It's a way of making someone hopefully feel like that there's someone out there who cares, even if that is a stranger, right? So,
yeah.
This is it. Wow, it's just coming off.
I've got a chin under there, I think. Probably got two.
Okay, you ready to say goodbye to this moustache? It's gone. It's going, going, gone.
Well, I must say, Stuart, you look human.
Oh, thank you. But I must say, when you say Stuart, you say my name, you're talking to me, and I recognize your voice, It's like...
Oh, do you now? Do you have a special sleeping place, or do you,
I do,
wherever you...
in Covent Garden.
Ah, okay.
It's a doorway that I've slept in a few months now. The security don't bother me.
On the street, your day-to-day, what would you say love means to you?
Usually it hits me like the first person to say good morning to me.
Yeah?
I'll be lying there, just undoing my sleeping bag, just climbing out, and somebody walks past and says, morning, and whoa, lovely. But when you don't hear a good morning from anything, it's like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Another big reason for doing this, when people walk past and they see someone helping another person, I think it's infectious, it ripples, and I think that's part of this, to try and inspire other people. So we've created a social media movement, hashtag Do Something for Nothing. And people are using this hashtag in different places to perform goodwill acts, so it's not just about hairdressing.
So, Stuart, I'm thinking now what's got Josh here with you is his sense of love thy neighbor. Do something for someone for nothing. What do you think about that?
There'll be a lot more done.
Wouldn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, man, and final touch. We ready? I think,
yeah, there you are.
I think
Bet you don't
ready.
recognize this guy.
I don't yet.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ta-da! Yeah.
I'm 20 years younger. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuart, what we saying?
Nobody's going to recognize me.
Mate, you're a new man right now.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you feel?
Like a new man.
Like a new man?
Yeah.
Do you recognize yourself then?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to look like that once. I was a lot younger.
All right, so what I want to say to the both of you is thank you very much. Someone like you walking around the city doing good stuff like that.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
It does. It really does.
Stuart. It's really terrific what Josh is doing.
We're going to see you again soon.
Thanks.
Joshua doesn't expect these small acts of kindness to end homelessness, but he hopes the love he shows people will boost their self-esteem and may help them rebuild their lives. Just imagine if each of us took 5 minutes out of your day to do something loving for another person. I don't care if it's a family member or your friend or a total stranger. Imagine what a transformation we could make in this world.
As George has mentioned, he hoped that his love for people will help them rebuild their life. This is what giving others confidence is about. Loving kindness and compassion are both fundamental teachings in Buddhism. Loving kindness is about wishing and giving others happiness. Compassion, or the second qualities that we're going to talk about, immeasurable compassion, is about the desires and the actualizations of alleviating sufferings of others. It is about hoping that all sentient beings will be free from sufferings. As Venerable Master Xing Yun once said, a person can be without anything, but he or she cannot be without compassion. So we can see how important compassion is for us. Compassion is what everyone should have in their heart all the time. It is about helping others when they're in need. Just like this pandemic, we can see that there are a lot of people who have made donation of face masks or donation of PPE or donations of food to those in need. This is why Venerable Master Xing Yun said that practicing compassion is the giving of hope. When we give, we want to give things that people need, not because we don't need them. So we can watch this video and it's greatly portrayed like what I have just talked about. in the video, we can see that the lady give up her seat to an old man who can't stand for a long time in the train because they have a long ride. The old man obviously didn't realize that his ticket doesn't come with a seat. He was a standing ticket. But then this lady, just the old man sit in her seat. And I think the compassion that the lady showed, in addition to like letting the old man sit in her seat, she's very also compassionate in a way where she wouldn't make this old man feel like ashamed that, oh, he got the wrong ticket or he's not supposed to sit there. And in addition to that, if we look at the lady in this picture, she's actually on crutches. So her leg is very bad as well. So she can't stand the whole time. But then she is willing to do that for an old man. So for all of us, we want to be able to extend our compassion not only to the people we know or to our loved one, but we want to be able to extend this to people we don't know. Just like this lady in the video. A little contemplation that we can do to help with spreading our compassion to neutral people is that we can think about the sufferings that we have. So we first start up with thinking about the suffering we have. How do we feel about the sufferings? And how does it affect us? Then think of other people are the same as us. Like we have sufferings, other people also have sufferings. And third, then we can place ourselves in other people's shoes, like thinking from their stand. Okay, if this sufferings happen to me, how would I feel? And how would I feel like through this situation? In this way, we can slowly nurture the sense of compassion for other people. We don't need to like or admire someone to feel compassion for that person. All we have to do is to wish that person to be happy. We want to develop compassion for people we know, to people we don't know, and even to people who may have misbehaved or to people who we dislike. The Buddha has talked about a very graphic analogy to illustrate this point. He said that even if a bandit attacked you and saw your arms off, you have to feel goodwill starting with them and then spreading this to the rest of the world. One very important thing to remember is that being compassionate required wisdom. It doesn't mean that you just give whatever when people ask you. An example would be maybe suppose you have a friend who's alcoholic, and because of his alcoholic problem, he basically lost his job and his family was broken apart, and he was asking you for money. And you knew that if you give him money, he would probably spend it on buying alcohol. So in this case, if you give him money, is that being compassionate? Instead of giving him money, which you know he would spend on alcohol, we should actually maybe take him to a center that would help him to get rid of this alcoholic problem. That would probably help him more in the long run as compared to just giving him money. So when we are being compassionate to other people, it also required us to have wisdom and to have right view. And so as we are able to be compassionate and help other people, we're also giving them hope. And one very important point is that as we're helping others, we should not be expecting anything back in return. And the third qualities is immeasurable joy. So this joy actually referred to having delight in the success of others, whether there are friends or enemies, or families or strangers. It's easy for us to have delight in the success of the one that we know, like our friends, our family members, and our loved one. But it may be very hard to feel delight in success for our enemy or for people whom we find hard to work with. It may sound easy, like, oh, joy is about like having delight in the success of others, but actually it is quite hard to do in realities, because if we actually observe our own emotions or thoughts and feelings that arise when we learn of maybe even our friends who's doing well in like doing better in school than us, sometimes jealousies or enviness would arise. And of course, not to mention if it's the success of the one that we dislike. In those cases, we might resist feeling delight for him or her. We might think that, oh, he or she is already well off and have everything, while I'm still struggle. So why should I wish him to be even happier than I am, than he is already is? Or we might think that, oh, he becomes successful because he's lucky, and all these negative thoughts, I'd say. When these thoughts arise, we should think about what we have learned from last class about the karmic seed and how we have a lot of wholesome and unwholesome karmic seeds stored in our consciousness. So when the causes and conditions are there, they might ripe. And of course, if there are wholesome karmic seed, then it means that we're probably enjoying our life more, like it's something positive for our life. But if it's negative, then we might be suffering from it. And if we think in terms of the karmic seed, what if for him, how would we know what he is enjoying, what he has right now? But then what if this karmic seed is going to diminish? So he's using up his merit already. So he might be suffering in the next moment. And do we want them to diminish even faster? And also we can think about the fact that he's happy. Is it affecting us? Is it diminishing our happiness? It's not, right? So if we contemplate as such, it might be helpful for us to give rise to delight in the success of others and bring joys to others. When we treat others with a joyous mind, others will feel warm and assured. This is what giving others joy is about. Sometimes just giving others a smile might even change their life. In Australia, there is a rocky cliff called the Gap, and apparently it's a very famous suicide spot. A lot of people might go there and jump off the cliff and commit suicide. And Don Ritchie, he actually lived across the street from this very famous spot. And so every single day, he will look out his window and see if there's any person who look like they're lost and is walking toward the cliff. And when he really did see someone, he would actually go out and have a great smile on his face and ask, "Would you like to come for a cup of tea and have a sit with me?" And because of that, it actually changed the person's mind. Then that person would come into his house and have a talk with him, and they're fine. So because of his action, Don Ritchie actually saved over 160 people's lives. So sometimes, even giving others a smile, simply as that, you might be changing someone's life. And this is also what giving joy is about. The last qualities is immeasurable equanimities. Equanimities mean to relinquish discrimination and attachment, as well as greed, anger, and other afflictions. It's about letting go of our hatred for our enemies and letting go of our attachment to our loved one. When we have loving kindness or compassion and joy for other people, we can give it to everyone without impartialities and discrimination. Strong attachment or strong aggression or strong hatred would balance our mind and create problems. Therefore, it's important for us to learn to let go of them. This is about having a balanced mind so that we can treat everyone equally. free from attachment for a loved one, and free from aversion for the one we dislike. It is not easy to let go of aversion and hatred. However, we all have this power to let go and to forgive. Only when we're willing to let go can we have room for loving kindness and compassion for others. The following video is actually a narration in animation form, narration of a survivor from the Holocaust. She talked about her own experience in forgiving this Nazi doctor. And again, there are a bit of Chinese caption, but the narration is in English.
One day in 1944, my family and I were arrested, packed into cattle trains with no food or water. We were taken to Poland and left on the selection platform in Auschwitz. A Nazi guard spotted me and my identical twin sister Miriam clinging to my mother. He tore us from my mother's arms and led us away. I remember looking back at my mother. I did not know at that time, but I would never see her again. On the filthy floor were the scattered corpses of 3 little girls. Their bodies were naked and their eyes were wide open. It was a horrifying look. I have never seen anybody dead before. So that hit me very, very hard, and I made a silent pledge that I will do whatever is within my power to make sure that Miriam and I will not end up on that latrine floor, and that we somehow will survive and walk out of this camp alive. We were naked for hours, and every part of our bodies was measured. It was horrible and humiliating. Too bad. She's so young. She has only 2 weeks to live. I knew he was right, but I refused to die. If I died, Miriam would have been given a lethal injection so he could cut open both of our bodies and compare the autopsies. For the following 2 weeks, I was between life and death. And all I remember, crawling on the barrack floor because I no longer could walk. And as I was crawling, I would fade in and out of consciousness, and I kept telling myself, I must survive. I must survive. Nine months later, we returned home, only to find that nobody else from our family survived. To find only 3 crumbled pictures, and that was all that was left of my family. In 1987, I donated one of my kidneys to save her, but she died in 1993, and I was devastated. She was the only one from the family who was alive. I was angry. I was heading to Germany to meet a Nazi doctor. I was unbelievably nervous and scared. Dr. Munch at the time was 82 years old. He greeted me with kindness, respect, and consideration. I was blown away, a Nazi treating me with respect. Dr. Hans Munch was a bacteriologist at Auschwitz, but he also had a secondary job that he was stationed outside the gas chambers. And when people were dead, he would sign one death certificate, no names, just the number of people who were murdered. And he said to me, "This is my problem. This is a nightmare that I live with." I asked him if he was willing to go with me to Auschwitz and make the same statement that he made to me. And he said he would love to. That was a crazy idea, to thank a Nazi, a survivor of Auschwitz, to thank a Nazi. People would think that I have lost my mind. I tried to figure out how to thank him, and after 10 months, a simple idea popped into my head. How about a letter of forgiveness from me, the survivor of Auschwitz? I knew that that was a meaningful gift for him. But what I discovered for myself was life-changing, that I had the power to forgive. No one could give me that power. No one could take it away. To challenge myself, I decided I could even forgive Mengele, the person who had put me through hell. It wasn't easy, but I felt an enormous weight had been lifted from me. I finally felt free. Who decided that I, as a victim, must be for the rest of my life sad, angry, feel hopeless and helpless? I refuse it. You can never change what happened in the past. All you can do is change how you react to it. My sister and I were made into human guinea pigs. Our whole family was murdered, but I have the power to forgive, and so do you.
Equanimity is important for our practice of loving kindness and compassion. It would help us see more clearly about what we can be changed and where we can be of help. For example, if a family suffered from serious sickness, we don't get upset about the fact of the sickness, but we should use equanimity as a mean of letting go of what we want to change, like hoping that we can take away their sickness right away. But instead of that, we can focus more on what we can be changed in the present, like we can be there for our family member and help that family member into thinking positively about the sickness, so that he or she would always be positive and would have the will and strength to fight the sickness. To nurture equanimities, we can first do some reflections to help if we are caught up in the two extremes of attachment and aversion. We should clearly identify the attachment that we have for our loved one and the aversion we have for the one we dislike. Then we can contemplate on the meaning of friends and enemies. We should realize that friends and enemies, they are not solid and unchanging. We may have friends who have turned into enemies. We may also have enemies from the past who are now our friends. This is the same with maybe we have some people we're distanced to. We may not know them very well in the past, but now they become our friends, and vice versa. So these things are changing all the time. The notions of friends and enemies are relative and impermanent. With these contemplation, we can slowly treat everyone equally because we let go of aversion and attachment. To conclude, if we can practice the four immeasurable, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimities in our daily life, not only will we have good interpersonal relationship with other people, we'll also learn to let go of our various afflictions, as well as learn to let go of this sense of self. And of course, with cultivation, our mind will be as vast as the ocean and be able to accept and tolerate everyone. We will be able to truly practice equalities in our daily life. Thank you very much for listening to this class. Please take care and stay safe. Thank you. Amitofo.